Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Trellis and Trails Homestead. I'm Jacqueline. I am out in my garden today. It is really hot. It's like 10 a.m. and it's already, I think almost 90 degrees. This is our last day of 90-degree temperatures. We've had about 4 days worth. I'm out here because I need to get my garlic out of the ground. It is ready to be harvested. I think some rain is coming in, maybe this evening and the next few days. So I want to get it out before the rain comes, just so it can dry and not be stuck in wet soil since it's ready to be taken out. So we're going to get that out. First, I think I'm going to water the garden, just everything else, just because it is so hot already. And then maybe some rain will come in this evening and I won't have to water it this evening. I've been watering it about twice a day when it's been really hot like this. It's because everything is like wilty and just doesn't look great if I don't. So it's a little breezy out here, which is actually nice with the heat today. So I'm just going to water everything first. I have a zucchini that I want to check on to see if it's ready to pull, and then we'll get that garlic out of the ground. All right, I just got everything watered, but you guys can see here is in this half my garlic, and it's all pretty much fallen over, almost all of it. So we got to go ahead and get that out because I don't want it to break and damage it by staying in the ground for too long. But I was going to give you guys a little garden update real quick. I just watered everything. It definitely is starting to look a little wilty because it's already pretty hot out here. So let me turn you guys around and give you an update. So we've got our tomatoes over here. They're not looking great at the moment. They look kind of sad. The better ones are down here for sure. I should have already pruned these lower leaves, and I might come back out when it gets cooler and do that so that they continue to grow vertical and start producing fruit. But they're starting to put out some flowers. I feel like everything has taken a really long time to produce this year and to grow. It's already basically mid-July. You'll see my other plants are still kind of small for this time of year. I was hoping that things would be bigger. I haven't really harvested much of anything yet. I do have a zucchini that I think I'll be able to harvest either maybe later today or tomorrow. We'll see. Usually once the zucchini and squash starts growing, it grows really, really fast. So it doesn't take long for me to be able to harvest it at that point. But it just seems like everything is taking forever this year. So I'm just getting a little impatient, even though the timing is actually great because I couldn't have dealt with it last month with my trigeminal neuralgia nerve issues that I had going on. So it's kind of fine, but I'm just ready for everything to start growing so that we can have some fresh vegetables. But let me show you the rest of the garden. We've got our potatoes still here in buckets, the Yukon Gold over here on this side, and then the red Norland. These are all of our seed potatoes. And then up in the front, towards the front of the house, we have a bed of store-bought potatoes that we just cut up. That's what we did last year. I put some tomatoes in this bed, and there's some butternut squash down here in the corners that are also not looking great at the moment. These are mostly like Roma and Amish paste tomatoes here. Have a little bit of basil as well. That's kind of starting to grow a bit bigger than it was when I planted it. Over here, my flowers aren't looking great, but I have some beets. I don't know where this random grass came from. We literally don't have grass in our yard at all, as you can see, but I have grass in my beds this year, so that's cool. Some beets here. Our cucumbers, I've never grown cucumbers before, and they're starting to trellis up our cattle panel trellis, which is amazing. I think there's even some baby cucumbers over there. I'll have to look and see. Some rutabaga planted. I need to plant more. I might plant some more in the garlic bed when we get the garlic taken out. And only one green bean. The other two, as you can see here, did not survive. So this one green bean plant in the corner is a bush bean. I might have to figure out if that needs a trellis or something too. It shouldn't, but it's starting to get pretty big, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited about all of my cucumbers here along the trellis. I hope that we get some pickling cucumbers out of them. Also, some weeds that we need to pull. We'll get out here on a cooler day and do that. I have a couple of cherry tomatoes planted here in the corners. And then these are my sad peppers. This pepper bed is not doing as great as the other one. And then also, this is really weird, but I planted radishes, and they're usually the easiest thing to grow. And they haven't produced at all. But it looks like they're already like going to seed. So I was going to pull this up and see. Yeah, see, they never like bulbed out and got big enough to harvest, but yet they already started producing like flowers. It looks like that one over there is already starting to produce radish pods. But it's weird because the radishes just didn't grow. I don't know what happened with them this year. I usually don't have a problem. I think it was the heat. We had like really early heat this year. High temperatures pretty early. And I just don't think they had enough time to grow. But you can see every single one of them are just tiny. I'm going to go ahead and pull these out because there's no point in leaving them. I like to harvest the radish pods, but not until they're bigger. Like you can see these little things usually turn into like radish pods, or that's kind of what they look like. But it's not until the plant gets really, really big. If you leave your radish in the ground and let it go to seed, then it'll produce this massive like bush of stems like this. And then you get these cool radish pods that are really great to eat. They kind of taste like a spicy green bean or something. But I know that this one's not big enough either. I'm just going to pull it. No, I don't know what has happened with these. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that it was from the heat this year. That is so weird though. Yeah, all of these are just teeny tiny. Well, I didn't think I'd ever have a problem growing radishes, and I guess this year we were very unsuccessful with that. This pepper bed is doing much, much better. Some of them are still small. These are the habaneros, I think, and I don't know why these are so hard to grow. They're much smaller than the other ones. This one here is a tomatillo plant, along with these two. And tomatillos do really well in my area. I found that out last year when I planted them, and they're starting to produce some flowers, and I think they'll start to fruit soon. You can see actually teeny tiny bulbs of tomatillos. Each tomatillo plant produces like hundreds of tomatillos. I got so many tomatillos last year from 2 plants. So I'm really excited to have 3 because I feel like we're going to have an abundance if they all grow. And I really like to make sauces and things with those, so we'll definitely use them. I'm really excited about them. And then I have just a variety of other peppers here. I'll have to look at my paper inside to see which ones are which, where I planted everything, but they're doing pretty good. Just because we have such a quick growing season, I didn't prune these because usually they do fine, and I'm able to get some peppers by like the middle to end of July. But again, everything is just growing so much slower this time, so I might come out and prune them a little bit, kind of like my tomatoes, and just see if that helps with the growth over the next couple of weeks. But again, it's so hot today. I think a lot of you are experiencing a heat wave and have been for the last week or so around the country here in early to mid-July, and it's definitely hot here in Colorado. So we're going to wait for a cooler day to do those things. This is what I wanted to check on. My zucchini here. You guys see it? It's getting pretty big. I think probably by this evening, or like I said, the next day or two, I'll go ahead and harvest it. But we have lots of zucchinis growing on this one plant. I'm going to have this one as well, where some are starting to grow. And then I have a third zucchini plant. I think I saw a little one on here. Yeah, there's one right there. Lots of flowers and blooms. And then these are my squash plants. The squash are growing quite slower than the zucchini, but there's still a few on these. This one plant is very small. I don't know what happened with this one. But then there's one growing here too. But yeah, you can see the size difference. Like here's my squash plants. And then in the back there, my zucchini plants. They're so much bigger. Also have some like turnips, a few herbs and things. I think there's some parsley here. A volunteer dill plant. And then my loofah, I was hoping that would trellis up the cattle panel trellis. It's also not looking so great. It's very wilty, kind of small. I don't know if it just doesn't like the hot weather or what. I have some weeds here that need to be pulled too. Tons of weeds, so we'll get to weeding at some point. And then over here I have some bell peppers that are starting to flower, kind of spread throughout, with some carrots that we really didn't thin out. We should have, because I think that they're probably pretty small right now because they don't have a lot of room. Let's see if I can pull something up. Oh yeah, see, they're like growing on top of each other. So probably should thin some of these out so that they have room to grow. Look at that one. And then we'll wash these up, and you can still eat them when they're this tiny. They taste like a carrot, but I definitely want bigger carrots, so I'll need to come through and thin these out. These are some bell peppers that I'm just kind of waiting for them to take off, and then a few onions that are bulbing up, but again, they're just tiny as well. You can see one there. Sorry, I have to put my sunglasses on because it is so sunny. I can't see you guys without them. So I feel like Colorado is kind of hard to grow bulb onions like this. I have my Welsh onions back here that grow pretty wild, and those do excellent. But when it comes to planting, like sweet onions, red onions, things like that, they don't get very big, for me at least. But I also know some people that have not had the greatest success with onions here in Colorado either. So we'll see what we get. Last year I did get a few, and they were like maybe tennis ball sized. No bigger than that though. So we'll give them a little longer and see if they get a little bit bigger. But we need to go ahead and get this garlic out before it gets any hotter today. It's so hot already. So yeah, you guys can see that it is definitely falling down and needs to be taken out. I think I could probably just pull them out, but I don't want to break them. So I'm going to use my shovel just to kind of loosen the soil around them and then pull them out. But we probably have 50 heads of garlic here. We'll see, because I want to give them time to like cure and dry so that they'll be shelf stable for a long time. So let's get to getting these out. Still small. Definitely dry though. This one is a much nicer size. Look at that. You can see this one was all yellow, like these are just falling right off. That's gorgeous. Okay, I'm actually going to leave these because I feel like they still have some opportunity to grow, especially with the leaves still being green. So we're going to leave those until they start getting brown and kind of fall over like all of these. And yeah, let's take these to the patio and I'll kind of show you what we got here. I'm trying to find some shade, and there's just not a lot at the moment in my backyard or on my patio. So I'm kind of up against the house here, but that's okay. I'm so excited. This is already so much more garlic than I had last year. I think we planted like 50 cloves, so that's to be expected. Last year, I think we only planted 20, so that's fine. But look at these guys. They're all kind of round about the same size. Some are a little bigger. This one's probably one of the biggest ones. Still kind of dirty, but look how gorgeous. These are stunning. They turned out really, really well. Look how perfect this one is. It's so pretty. So don't ask me what variety of garlic this is. I'm going to be honest with you, it's grocery store garlic. We planted cloves from just garlic that we had gotten from the grocery store. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions about that, and a lot of people don't like to do that, and that's fine. And I probably actually won't do that next year. I have done that the last 2 years, but I'll invest in a more quality garlic next year and actually plant like a variety. So as far as variety, I can't tell you because it came from the store, whatever they have at the store. I know they have like elephant garlic and things like that at the store. This is just the regular garlic. The elephant garlic cloves are really, really big. And when you plant them, they also will make really big heads of garlic. These are your basically average size garlic, maybe a little bit smaller. I planted these in October of last year. You plant them in the fall, the season, like the year before you harvest them. And then I usually take them out, harvest them in July, mid to end of July every year. These obviously were just ready to come out because you guys saw they were falling over and you don't want them to like break and kind of get wet and messed up. And then the leaves are all yellow. There's no green on any of these. This one I pulled out and I thought it was a garlic. It's definitely an onion and it's tiny because it could have used more time. But it was like falling over too, so that's why I pulled it. But definitely an onion. You can see the difference here. It's very clear. But I definitely thought it was a garlic when I pulled it. But that's okay. I'll still use it today for something. I think we're actually going to make pizza later, so I might just chop it up and put it on some pizza. So as far as letting these dry and cure, they're basically dry. It is supposed to rain, I think, this week, so I didn't want them to sit in the garden beds and get, like, wet, and then have an extended time to dry because it really hasn't rained much this year, so they aren't just sitting in the ground in a lot of, like, wet soil. Usually a couple weeks before I decide I'm going to harvest them, I stop watering them. You don't really have to water garlic too much. It kind of just does its own thing anyways. But when I decide I'm going to harvest them, like the end of June, beginning of July, I just stop watering them completely. Let them do their thing in the garden bed or in the ground, wherever they are. And then by the time I'm ready to harvest them, they're usually pretty dry unless we've gotten a lot of rain or something. But we haven't gotten rain this year. So there's a little bit of green on this one. So I want these to continue to dry out really well. I'm probably gonna just take some of these extra, like, outer leaves off and then let them dry. And I think what I'm gonna do for now is just kind of sit them on my rocking chair or on my table out here while it's hot today. And then once the rain comes in, if it does come in today, I'll move them into the garage. You want to put them in like a well-ventilated area, even with like a fan or something around them to help them dry out and cure, especially if you're planning on saving them for a while. And I did this last year. I let them dry and cure for about 2 weeks. And then I ended up braiding them, and I'll probably do that again. Just braiding the stems together is actually pretty hard with some of them. Some of them have pretty tough stems towards the garlic bulb, but I really loved that because it kept them all together. And it was gorgeous, and I threw some yarrow leaves in with it when I braided them. So once it dries all the way, I'll probably bring you guys back for that and show you guys how I like to braid them and twine them up. And then I sit them in my kitchen, and I just use them throughout the year. I did not use them all year long this past year. Like when I was making some of my garlic breads and sourdough breads, I was using just store-bought garlic to put in those for people. And I honestly wasn't sure if some of my garlic that I had inside from last year was even still good. But I ended up using some of the cloves the other day, and they were perfect. They're still great. They're absolutely delicious and taste far better than the garlic that you buy from the grocery store. So we're definitely going to be more intentional with using these. I still have probably 3 bulbs, full bulbs of garlic inside from last year. So that's pretty good because I harvested them in July and still have a few. But like I said, I didn't use it all the time. This year, if we end up having about 50 cloves, I'll have to count them towards the end and let you know how many we have. I'll probably just use this garlic. I don't find the need to like dehydrate them and make garlic powder or anything like that. I'd rather just use them fresh, but you can always do that too. You can dehydrate your garlic or freeze dry it or whatever you have and turn it into garlic powder. I am almost out of garlic powder, so I'm going to have to get some more, but I'm not going to use these for garlic powder. I'm just going to use these for like fresh garlic. They already smell so good. I wish you guys could smell them. So I'm going to let these cure. I'm just going to put them on my table. I might even kind of shove them. This is the onion. I might even kind of shove them like upside down so they can hang and kind of get some airflow throughout the stems and leaves and everything today. And I think I'll just sit them in the sun like this. I'm so excited about these. So I have 27 heads of garlic here, and we might not have a full 50. I know that's about how many we planted. There are still quite a few out there in the bed, but we'll see how many we end up with. The little tiny ones, not tiny, but they're definitely like smaller. I kind of put those all together so they don't fall through the crack of this table, but most of them are pretty good size. Like I said, smaller than what you would find at the grocery store, but you know, we'll take what we can get. I'm actually really pleased with them, and I think they're going to be delicious. So yeah, we're just going to let those cure for, like I said, probably a week or two, probably about 2 weeks, especially when I get the other ones out of the ground. I'll let those kind of cure for the same amount of time, and then we'll come back and we'll braid them. But I'm just going to let them hang out today while it's sunny and hot out. I just wanted to say too, thank you guys so much for all of your nice comments on my last video. I know my videos have been kind of sporadic for the last probably month or two. And you guys know about my nerve issues that I've had going on. I kind of briefly mentioned that in the last video. And I just appreciate you all for being so kind in your comments and giving me time to recover and take care of myself and do what I need to do without having the stress of like making a video twice a week or every week even. In the beginning, I was doing videos twice a week, and that was really fun. I'd like to maybe get back to that at some point. I don't know if summer is the most ideal time. It's just kind of hard in the summer to do that, but at least weekly I would like to get back to for sure. But I'm hoping for the remainder of the garden season I can bring you guys back pretty often, especially as we're doing some harvesting and things like that. There just hasn't been much going on in the garden. It's just doing its own thing right now until we can harvest. So I think probably later in July, August, and early September, we'll be doing the majority of the harvesting. The garden has really just taken a back seat, honestly, this year with everything going on. And I didn't plant as many herbs and other things as I wanted to. I did have some planted, but not everything grew. And I was going to go pick up some rosemary and some lavender and some other herbs to use in like breads and things like that. And I didn't end up getting any. I know that I still have time to, and I might actually run and get some to plant for the remainder of the season. I was trying to see what would grow in the garden beds because I did plant a lot of different things, but it doesn't look like all of it's growing. But I'm hoping here in the next couple of weeks we definitely have some peppers, tomatillos, things like that. The tomatillos actually, they do take a little bit, so they probably won't be ready until August, but maybe some peppers. The tomatoes might take a little while longer. Definitely the zucchini and squash. Usually once that starts growing, it grows pretty fast. So I think we'll have some of that here soon. And then I think when I get the rest of the garlic out, which will probably be in the next week or so, I'm going to go ahead and plant some more rutabaga. I think we really love to have rutabaga. Last year I even just like baked it in some olive oil and seasonings and then ended up just freezing them and taking them out as needed. So we had a lot to use up. This year, it doesn't look like they all grew from seed that I planted, so I'd like to plant some more so we have a good amount for the fall season. But that's kind of the update for today, just getting that garlic out. That was definitely high on my priority list to do. Otherwise, I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day inside because it is, like I said, so hot. I don't mean to keep saying that because I know that it's only temporary. Here in Colorado, we usually get like once or twice during the summer these stretches of like 90-degree temperatures, and then it goes back down into like the 70s and 80s, and it looks like on the forecast for the next week it'll go back down to even as low as like 71. So I'm looking forward to that. I do not love the super hot temperatures. It's not for me, and I don't think my garden loves it either. So yeah, I'm going to hang out inside for the rest of the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me today as we got our garlic out of the ground. Stay tuned. We'll be getting the rest of it out, and I'll bring you back for like braiding it or doing whatever we do to it once it's cured and ready to be put away. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.